Two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
Was poppin'. Welcome to Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
Got a different angle. So this is look. This is how dope his view is still. No matter what type of camera he has, whatever it is, it's still going to show this amazing view he has. Let's not downplay this. My man is on a whole regular iPhone and still killing the game. Still look like he has a 10. You know what I mean?
Thank God for a ring light and and a nice little backdrop.
Right.
Thank God for that.
Whoa. Why is this so? What's happening? Why do we go through this each time? There we go. All right. Let me make this a little bit bigger for my people. What's up, Ashley? How are you? Right? Overland. Angela. How you say his name?
K.
What's up, K? Y'all know I'm bad with names, okay? Y'all know I'm bad with names. This is how it is. That Hendo in the building, and Jaleesa's in the building. I love her so much. Anyways, all right. So first and foremost, episode 33 is out. Okay, so if you have not checked that out already, go to Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Google Podcasts, or nickyandmoose.com to go check that out all day, every day. Moose, how are we feeling?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Life has been eventful the last couple of days, but I'm blessed and grateful and making it work. I'm glad we found out about this phone thing. I wish we would have known about this when you were in Mexico. I don't know why I was trying to do the most, but this is good. I'm glad we can at least make this work.
It's okay. It is okay. Wait. What is it? Not K. When? Oh, wait. Here we go. Say that. Kino. Wait, what?
Kenosha.
Okay.
I think so. Let me know if I said that right.
Did we say it right? Kenosha.
Yeah,
Did we say it right? We don't like offending people. If we said it right, cool. If we didn't, I apologize once again.
Yeah.
I was not blessed with the gift of saying names properly. Okay? I wasn't. But Moose, what are we talking about today?
Man, well, first off, definitely go tune into episode 33. That was we got covered a couple topics that were definitely worth the listen. A couple lessons tied into that. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already done so. I think that YouTube video that we put out on the Joe Budden situation took off pretty quickly. So again, make sure y'all tap into that because that's a nice one to listen to. Second thing is, as always, take a look into the flight assessment, man. That's our baby. So we always want to shout that out. Check out the flight assessment whenever you get a chance. If you haven't already done so, make sure you do so. But more importantly, for today's topic, man, we're tapping in because I think it's all like it's with new generations. Anytime around graduation time, if you're ever tapped into any mentoring programs or you help a few people just kind of like make sense of their next move, you'll always get that one question, right? So do you think I should go for what I'm passionate for, or I should just cash in for the money right now? Should I just like forget what I love to do and go for the money right now? Or what's your opinion on it? So I'm like, man, you know what? Ain't no better place to talk about it than on a Nicky and Moose Live and really get to really explore what is the best thing to do. Is there, some alternatives around? Should you be chasing your passion or should you be chasing getting paid? All right. What's the balance to do it? How can we do it? I don't know. So yeah, Nick's, kick us off, man. I'd like to know your opinion on this, where you stand with it, because yeah, definitely people want to know.
So I would have to say that I think regardless if you know this information or not, I think we all go through the same cycle. I think it's almost fair to say, right? Even though we would love to live out our passion and just do what we love and everything like that, and then we become adults. You know what I mean? Then we become adults. Then we get influenced by people like, nah, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be getting paid to do this, and this is how much you should be getting paid. So I don't know if I can necessarily say one or the other. I feel as if you have to go, for me personally, I had to go through one to understand and value the other, right? Yeah. I had to chase the bag for a bit and make all the wrong mistakes, and truly not understand my values, and which is the craziest thing. Let's talk about that real quick, because my values is 99 economics. Right. Mm-hmm. So which would assume that I'm all about the bag, right? But I realized down the line that I truly value doing stuff that I love and that I'm passionate about way more than money. And the second that I had shifted into that, right, and saying a no to a whole guap of bags, unfortunately, which I still look back and I'm still shocked at myself. But once I made that shift, then actually money started to come a little bit easier. And I was able to kind of maneuver and pick which ones that I wanted to do, right? And I think at the same point, I want to have this conversation, we're still at some point going to do things that we're not necessarily passionate about just so we can maintain doing what we're passionate about. Did that make sense?
Yep, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
but
break
here's
that down
my question for you though.
Go.
Here's my question for you though. Would you still move and act the same way if financially right now things weren't flowing the way that they are for you? Because I think that's the
Ladies and gentlemen, he's not saying I'm paid. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not saying I'm paid. No, he's not saying I'm broke in these streets, okay? I'm broke. I ain't got nothing. I stay home majority of the time, okay?
That's what rich people do. That's what rich people do. You know, they stay home and stack their bread. That's a good move. I like it.
I stay home. I wear things that are of gold in hopes to speak things into existence.
Yeah. No, but talk about that though. Do you think, you know, and I'm not saying I don't want to be in your pockets and put your business out there, but for real, I think there's definitely a certain amount of choices that we have access to the minute that you reach at least a consistent financial situation. Like, you know, you're not constantly thinking about, man, how am I going to pay rent at the end of the month? Or where am I going to get some food from? Right. So my question to you is, do you think you would still move the same way with your 99 economic value if you were in a different financial situation?
I think I would, because when I shifted my mind with that, I wasn't making a lot of money. You see what I'm saying? Like when I figured out, so here's where my only child syndrome pops in. Okay. And shout out to my mom. I love my mom. When I don't want to do something, I don't want to do something. And I don't necessarily care at certain points what's the consequences, right? Which is a good thing and a bad thing at times, okay? praise God, I have matured enough to know when the only child syndrome should pop in and out, right? But I learned early that, if I just say no and just do what I want to do, like I learned that it works out eventually, because I don't necessarily choose to fail on purpose. I may be stubborn, I may be hard-headed, and I can admit my flaws. I don't try to fix them, but I do admit them, right? I am those things, but there is one thing: I will never put myself in a situation to fail, right? So will there be a little bit of a money slump or a little bit of it being uncomfortable? Yes. But will I ever be to a point where I'm like, yo, how do I get this pizza slice? Like, yo, Moose, you got can you cash at me $4? $4. Yeah. I could get a slice and then a small Diet Coke, because I'm on a diet. You know what I mean? So I'm good if you give me 4, and then I'll pay you back in 2. It's not going to be that bad, because I know how to always get myself out of certain things. Now, do I know if it gets to that point, some things that I may have to do to get myself back into that passionate vibe? Yeah. I may. It's not like I'm out on the corner, though. Shout out to the strippers.
Oh, God.
I'm not in the corner, but I I do know some things that I have on reserve, some skills, prior IT, all that great stuff, that because of my economic skills, I have certain knowledge that if I have to tap into it, I will, to make the bag, then go right back to it. I will set a certain standpoint, a certain time. Yo, tap into this for a little bit and come right back out, right? So if I wasn't as comfortable, because I'm not paid, people. If I wasn't as comfortable as I am now and I have to move off the bag, it would only be for a limited of time to make a certain amount to then get back to that comfortable vibe and to do whatever I want to do. Because if I continuously move for the bag, that is an endless journey, and I will be exhausted and I will drain myself out, regardless of how high my values are with that. Because for me, I just feel that making money isn't that hard. Especially online, especially with how things are. It doesn't make sense. I think it's a matter of being strategic with when to go in and when to come out of it, and how to flip certain things. So, but that's just me.
That's a good point, though. That's a good point, because basically what you're saying is, if you have a skill set, like a tangible skill set that is needed in the marketplace, right? Like certain things we know, if you're a nurse, for example, if you are a doctor, a lawyer, of course, and you don't got to be somebody with that crazy of a degree, but even in your case, right? Someone in the tech and the IT space, we know that that's something that for the most part is always going to be in demand. So it's a tangible skill that can always pay you should, God forbid, things hit the fan. So you can afford, that's almost like your ticket to go out and pursue your passion, because that worst case scenario, if things got extremely bad, you can still figure things out through this other skill set that you have without having to let things go to the worst case scenario, which is pretty smart. It's okay, I got something that can make it happen for me. I like that.
I try. So flip that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think the way I look at it is you gotta know who you are. Oh my God, it looks terrible. Let me fix this real quick.
He's like, oh my God.
Yeah. No, I think the other part of it is you gotta know who you are. For some people, you need money. You have needs for things, you want to look a certain way, you want to dress a certain way, you want to maintain a certain lifestyle, that for you, it's like, no, screw my passion. I want to be able to uphold these things that I desire and I want right now. And if that's you, then shoot, maybe you need to go the route of go for the bag right now and get yourself to that position where you can muster up either the courage or the discipline to put some of these things on hold until you go out or can afford and create some time for yourself to then go out and work on your passion. But for some of us, and the way I did it was I kind of had both going at the same time. And I was fortunate to strike a good balance, because my situation was I had a family responsibility that I had to take care of, that I couldn't just ditch that part of the responsibility and say, okay, bet, I'm off to the races to pursue my passion, where I had already done that, right? So for me, my first love or my first passion was baseball. I had done that for a significant amount of time, even through college, where the family was still kind of like just pitching together just enough coin to keep things going. So after that, it was like, okay, I can't afford to do that any longer and have them in the position that they are. So I took the route of, and I'm just being transparent, I took the route of the money so that I can sustain our family and kind of get us in a better financial position. So it was crazy how it worked, because there was a time where literally, and I don't think I ever told you this, Nicky, there was a time where, of course, rents in New York are out of control.
Yep. And
the measurement that every realtor or landlord will use if you're looking to get a new apartment is you have to make 40 times the rent. You have to prove that on paper that you make 40 times the rent so you can be approved for a new place. Now, there was a time where I don't want to say we got as far as getting evicted out of our place, but we were close to, just because the landlord wanted her place back. So it was like, you got to move, you got to move, you got to move, you got to move. And it's like, yo, we're trying to move, but we're not getting the okay from a different place to get in.
Right.
So I landed an opportunity that proved the income on the same day as the court ruling. Like, you know, when you're going to court to get whatever the decision, I landed an opportunity to show just enough income for us to move literally the same exact day. And it was just tough to back out of that and say, oh yeah, no, I'm going to let this pass because I'm pursuing my passion, or I want to follow my passion. So that's the part that I don't know that, you know, the everyday internet guru is going to talk about, and saying, yo, if your responsibility or your life situation doesn't afford you the opportunity to pursue your passion, then run after whatever it is that you need to do to keep things together, but make that pact amongst yourself to say, I'm going to still dedicate a little bit amount of time to keep studying, to keep reading, to keep learning, to keep building, so that I do have something to turn back to whenever the time is right. And that's how it was for me. Took the job, went from a job to a business, from a business to another business, until I fully kind of developed, you know, what you would consider the passion project. So that's the part that I don't know that many people speak of, and it's not the popular route. It's really the long way home, but it is a way nonetheless. It's like, if that's the way to go, if that's what you're after, I think it is a way nonetheless, but it's not really something that's popular or that's talked about, because of course, the main idea that you hear is you got to focus on one thing.
These are facts.
Slightly different approach.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
You did it, right? Yeah.
I've been finding out new things all week. You know what I mean? I'm finding out new things all week. Everybody, you should learn something new every day. I'm just saying.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
But oh, go ahead. You got it.
No, go for it. No, it's you.
So, I guess like, what is a balance for those people who may still have to be in the bag phase, right? Like I said, it doesn't matter if we tell you to go for the passion first and it'll work out eventually, this, that, and third, right? You'll never hear me say go jump and leap. That's never my vibe. I'm never going to say that. But what would you tell the people as far as like balance wise for those people who are still in the bag vibes? What are some of the things they can do to possibly jump into the passion situation in a smoother route, not in a, hey, jump, be broke, you'll love it, you'll have to struggle, all that great stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can avoid that part, please do, because it's not fun.
No.
But I will say a big part of it is you gotta have a set amount, let's say like a percentage of the money that you're making. It has to be a dedicated amount that's reinvested into your passion. I always start with self-development. So if I'm pursuing my passion as a creative, but I can't do that full time right now, so I have to take a 9 to 5 to keep the lights on, then a percentage of what you make at your 9 to 5 should be dedicated to your self-development towards becoming a full-time creative, right? And that could be in any category. It could be personal development, leadership, communication, sales and marketing, branding, actual, maybe even with some of the software, like the creative softwares, whether it be video editing or Photoshop or some of the, but there has to be something that is dedicated towards that part of it. You can't say that, man, I'm just not passionate at the workplace right now, so I'm not giving it at my all, or I'm miserable, or I'm terrible. And it's like you're pretty much like a legal thief. If that's what it is, you're a legal thief. You're working somewhere, taking people's money, but you're not giving your all because it's not what you're passionate about. That's not right. Like what type of standard is that, right? I think it's a very hypocritical thing to do. And it's a challenge, and I don't mean it in a mean way, because I've done it. I kind of had to check myself at one point.
I was about to say, I'm a whole thief out in these streets then.
It's a mean thing to say. But think about it, though. You're taking a job, you're taking a check, but your reason for not giving it your all or working your hardest, and we've talked about maximizing your current job, right? Like there are things that you could do at your current workplace, whether it's what you're passionate at or not. You can maximize that space and that opportunity to really create a way for yourself when the time is right. So if you're there and the excuse you give yourself is for not working hard is, well, it's not what I'm passionate about, then really you are building habits that are going to destroy what it is that you are passionate about because of what you're doing there. Not to mention the fact that you're accepting payment for something that you're not giving your all, or you're not returning your end of the bargain. So that's the part that I often challenge people to think about. Like, first off, take care of that character piece, because that character piece has a lot to do with, I think it's like God's way of, or if you believe in the universe or your current belief system, it's like, that's the thing that opens this way up for you. Like, okay, cool. You've earned the right to be trusted with your own thing, because there is a bigger responsibility that comes with that. So the first thing is, I say, definitely, right, put in the work for what you're paid. Number two, have a percentage of what you're making go into your self-development of that passion piece. So now it's like, it's almost difficult to not stumble across the thing that you want to do with that type of setup, because you're already working on it. You're just not able to dedicate the full amount of time that you'd like to, toward that thing. So those are the first two things. And then if you are really someone who's like a goal-oriented person or a go-getter, set a timeline. Our favorite phrase to use with some of our coaches in extreme execution, we say, what by when? So it's like, what are you going to do? And when are you going to do it by? It cuts off all of the if, ands, buts, maybes, but like it just cuts that out the window, and it gets you to lock in on a place where it's like, okay, while I know things don't go according to plan, or they don't go perfectly according to a specific plan, I can at least lock in on this date and say, I give myself something to look forward to. So another example, I have a client that I'm working with. She has done, I think, either 18 or 19 years in the military.
Okay.
And when we first started working together, a lot of her kind of stress was, man, I don't know if I can wait until to complete the 20 to get to retire and still take advantage of these benefits that I can go out and pursue my passion afterward.
Right.
And it was just an opportunity for us to kind of really help her make sense of her psychology, to say, well, do you know the exact date that you're getting out? Right. And she's like, well, I'm not sure. And I remember this example that he used. He said, when you ask a guy in jail how much time you got left, they're going to tell you 16 days, 48 hours, they're going to tell you the exact time. So you can't tell me that you're doing something that you don't absolutely love, but you don't know the exact date that you're due to get out of that position. So when you tie a timeline to it, now you're giving yourself something to generate energy and momentum to, because when you don't feel like doing it today, you can start looking ahead to that timeline and say, okay, September 5th, whatever, year so-and-so, that's what I'm working for. And it's just it puts you in this like very tight-knit routine that is difficult to fall off or not stay locked in on the thing you want. So yeah, a little bit maybe too structured for most, but for me, that's the thing that I felt was like, that was my bread and butter. Reinvested into development, had a timeline, worked the plan, and that was my way of going from pay to passion instead of the other way around.
I'm with it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. So, but why aren't you a fan of you say you're not a fan of telling people to jump and leap?
Yeah. No.
Why is that?
Because I don't want to fail on purpose. I don't like people like to do that. This is the thing. I'm cool with failing. I'm not cool with failing and being broke. That's not what I want to do, right? So if certain financial situations isn't aligned just yet, I'm not going to sit here, and you're not very sure off top. Like if you could jump, right? And not literally jump, like go to the next situation without a care, right? And feel that confident that you can make money regardless of the situation, cool. By all means, go, right? But if there is no light at the end of the tunnel with like, hello, I'm going to this situation. Well, how are you going to pay your bills? I don't know. It's all going to work out. What? No. We actually have like mortgages and car notes and, like we have to eat and stuff like that. Like I'm not big on moving that way. So I'm big on setting yourself up for success. Like you may have to sacrifice some of those things you don't necessarily want to do at that period and then move strategically and jump once you have enough. Jump when that's just me. Could that be wasting a bit of time? It could be. But I'm just saying for me, I can't do that. Because what you're not going to see is a very happy Nikki if I am ever in a very uncomfortable state when it comes to money. Like, that's just very unpleasant for myself and anybody who deals with me. That's added stress for no reason.
No, that's fair. That's fair. What about for those people who believe that they produce their best work under pressure? And it's like, oh, well, right now I'm just too comfortable.
So there's other ways to make pressure for yourself besides being broke. Like, what I don't understand? And I think we had this conversation. For everybody who's watching and the replay people, I apologize if this offends anybody. However, for the rich people who are like, yo, I just want to spend like a week in the hood. Like, I want to feel the struggle. I want to just, like those people that are like, yo, I want to be homeless for this amount and see how it feels to humble myself and everything like that. Why? Like, I don't feel like that's a game to play because people really live that life, right? So if people live that life, the pressure you should feel is seeing those images and making sure you're never that way. Not necessarily having to go there and see how it feels and whoop-de-woo, looking at that and looking around you and being like, yo, I got a ceiling fan. That's crazy. Some people don't have ceiling fans that even work. I got central AC. Like, for me, I don't particularly take anything for granted, especially with the grandmother that I have. She has like no AC. Her water goes out sometimes, or electricity goes out sometimes. So I'm like, I'm not taking anything for granted, but I'm also not going to put myself in certain positions just to feel it. Like we talked about last week with Cole. I'm just more of getting to the next level instead of putting myself in uncomfortable situations just so I could move. Like, I shouldn't be comfortable in the level that I'm at anyways. That should be enough pressure. The fact that there's no change within my environment at all after a certain amount of time, that should be enough of pressure. That I'm not learning something from my surroundings or the people that I'm with, that should be enough pressure, because how am I going to be solidified with a name in the dictionary of whatever if I'm not growing every single day? That should be enough pressure. But that isn't for some, and I get it, right? But I'm not big on putting yourself in a broke, uncomfortable situation for you to move. That's like saying, yo, get 400 pounds so you can care about your health. Okay, feel what it is to have sore ankles, shortness of breath, possible heart attack, possible diabetes. Then maybe you'll care about your health and then you'll do it. No, it doesn't have to be that dramatic. And I love like sweets. I love sweets.
I like that. You know what? Maybe if you need that much pressure to get going, then what you think is your passion probably isn't. You know.
Wait, first of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Yeah. If it's gonna take that much heat and craziness to get you rolling towards the thing that you're so passionate about, then maybe it's not what you're passionate about after all. It can't possibly be, right? Because typically, for the thing that you're passionate about, people are willing to lose and sacrifice sleep, money. And we hear people talk about, man, I'll do this for free. I'd love to get paid doing what I love because it's gonna make me that much happier. And there's, and then as a result of that, you start to see that the money increase, which is kind of what you opened up with. But yeah, I to your point, now that I'm thinking about it, because the minute you said, shoot, if that's the case, then it's like saying, add the weight so you can lose it, so you can get an appreciation for your health. And no, that's spot on. Wow.
It's a true situation. But I mean, there's always an extreme to everything, right? There's always an extreme to everything. You shouldn't have to put yourself in an extreme situation to appreciate what you have and what you're soon to have. You just have to focus more on what are you still trying to get. And I continue to refer back to last week's live, because for one, I watch this documentary now almost every single day. It's like pure motivation for me. But we have to look at it like, if we stay this way, like the way we are right now, right? Though it may be, depending on who you are, right? Though it may be like a very smooth ride, like you're already better than your parents, right? You're better than your parents' and everything like that. There's certain things, certain milestones that are already done. But if you're cool with that, cool, right? Who am I? Once again, who am I to say, keep going, right? It's only for certain people that need to feel uncomfortable to continue to level up, right? So if you're in that smooth sailing, yo, I'm chilling, cool, right? But if you're not, if you look around, you're like, yo, I could do way more, then that should be enough.
Mm-hmm.
That should be enough, because you're going to legitly just be average this whole time. And that's cool. But for me, I can't. I can't be average. There may be some seasons where I'm like, I gotta be a little bit on cruise control so I can reserve my energy, because in this particular season, I gotta go, right? I gotta make sure this happens. But to sit there and say, all right, I'm not happy here. You know what? Let me just go broke. Let me forget it. Don't give me this check. Don't do that. Let me feel how it is to not pay 3 mortgages. Why is that a dream in life?
Yeah.
I don't
understand.
I don't understand.
Maybe it makes good for entertainment, but because I know there's just like a show, what is it, Undercover Boss or something like that?
Yes.
Where someone like that, yeah, I know that maybe for entertainment's sake, I can see how that works, but
They
yeah, I
always
don't
look
know
like
if
they're
it-
struggling, though. They always
Yeah,
look like they're struggling. It's the craziest thing. Now, for those people who are watching live or even on the replay, let me know in this stage of your life, are you moving for passion or are you moving for the bag? And be honest, this is a super, super safe zone. Like, I'm not judging, Moose is not judging anything. We just want to see from our audience, where are you moving at? Are you moving with passion or are you moving for the bag in this season? Okay, in this season, that's the important part, because some people be like, yo, I'm moving for the bag for this particular season. And if you are moving for the season, when does the season end?
I like that. A couple people are asking what documentary, what's the name of the
Oh,
doc?
the J. Cole one. The what is it? Apply Pressure. There we go. Applying Pressure or Apply Pressure. Something like that. The J. Cole documentary. I promise you, I've been like reposting that thing. Like, I did it on my IG today. I put it on our Nicky and Moose page and everything. It's just, it just shifts a lot of things, right? Now, let's flip it a little bit, right? And shout out to everybody who is making this Rory and Mal clip on our page go sky high. Shout out to y'all, right? And shout out to all those who are new to the channel. Now, in that particular situation, when friends start out with a passion project, right? And then it becomes money, right? And money gets involved. And then all of a sudden, there is a division between those who want to stay passionate and those who are moving for the bag. Like, how do you handle those types of situations when clearly there's a divide?
Yeah. Well, so the what not to do part of it is assume that they don't want money and you take their money. Because I think that's what just happened recently. It's like, oh, you don't care about money. You're doing this because you love it and you're taking it as friends. So let me take your money and not and do things that would maybe distract or take you away from getting the information necessary to that you're getting paid what you're worth or what is your share. That's a better way to say it. You're getting paid your fair share. The thing that I loved, however, and this is what I saw, kind of from just watching amongst the crew with ETA and everyone, is you teaching the people on your team, like, hey, although you're passionate about this, let me also educate you on a very important part of the business or the financial kind of rewards of it, or what we can be doing, or how other people are benefiting off of our passion. Because that's kind of what happened, right? It was like, let's think of a Josh Hatch, a CJ, a Maul, who came into the community and said, hey, we're not telling you not to be passionate and not only run and run after money. We're not saying that. But what we are saying is get a better grip around what your passion is doing for other people, because there are people who use E's videos and make millions of dollars, never paying him 2 cents. So it doesn't make sense that that's happening, and it's happening where they're getting it for free. They're benefiting off of you, but you're in a financial situation where it doesn't allow you to live out maybe as well as they are, right? There's no reason why somebody should own, this is a legit situation too, why somebody should own a $200 million mortgage company, and they've used your stuff, but you have no share or no say in what's happening, or at least benefiting from that situation. So let me educate you on how you can better position yourself, just so that, like you said, for generations to come, the situation can be better. So that's immediately what comes up to mind, Nick. Like, yeah, you can't just go around and take somebody's money or steal somebody's money, assuming that they don't care for money because they're doing it because they're passionate about it. That's not cool. But the good way, at least from what I've seen, it is, you're educating somebody on the importance of finance, not changing their passion, but at least wanting to develop a good level of security for them. Guess what? So that they can go deeper into their passion. Because, like, imagine that.
So are you saying that in the beginning, or I don't know if you're saying it, and I'm saying it now, but are you saying that in the beginning of maybe starting a passion project, that possibly information and education on the money side and the business side is needed early for preparation for the money to come in, and so it still stays in the passionate side?
100%. Because if you misuse your passion, right, then you set yourself up for a position similar to that which Rory and Maul are in, right? And I kind of shared my thoughts about it on the podcast really towards the end of the episode, really sharing that the biggest disappointment is that they put in 7 years of their life, and they're in a position where contractually, if the contract is not honored, they can have nothing to show for 7 years of investing time, effort, and energy.
Right.
Man, that's a terrible blow to take. So your passion puts you in a position where you were, I don't want to say financially blind, but there were definitely some gaps in your education that didn't allow you to set up the security necessary, so you're not in the position you're in today. It's one thing to walk away from a situation, not caring because you've been disrespected, things have gotten out of hand, but you're still going to get your royalties, right, on the things that you've contributed. That's cool. It's like, hey, it didn't go to waste. It just came to an end. Fair. But to do all of that and walk away having nothing to show for it, which I'm not saying that is the case, but that's just kind of what I'm predicting based on what I've learned about the situation so far. Right. It's like, man, that's gotta hurt. So yeah, I think what you summed it up perfectly, Nick. Is like, maybe an education is absolutely necessary from the very beginning so that people can avoid similar situations like this. So,
okay, I semi-agree, just because I don't think people, and maybe this is just a shift of a mindset shift, that you start off a passion project with money in mind still. Even though that may not be the goal, you have to still be aware that it could be possible. So you may want to educate yourself at first. But I know some people, I'm not going to say majority, but some people start out a passion project with no thought of it making any kind of money. It's just like, yo, I love to do this, right? I absolutely love to do this. So it's hard to wrap your head around sometimes of the opportunities based off doing some of the stuff that you love. And I think that's why some people struggle with prices and how to structure it out, as well as when certain opportunities come in, how to even act, then certain people feel entitled and things like that. Like, yo, it was because of me, this happened, whatever it is, right? I think it's just safe to say that with whatever we do, whatever we put our mind to, we have to understand some type of opportunity can possibly happen. So how do we educate ourselves in all standpoints? Like, whether it is just leveraging, like, how do I just leverage my passion? Right? How do I give opportunities to others because of my passion? How do I deal with different brand deals because of my passion? You know, I think, like you said, educating ourselves and those who are a part of it for all different scenarios, or even when the first bag comes in, what are we going to do together with it? How are we going to reinvest it in our passion, reinvest it in a different business, whatever it is? Like, I just think maybe, like, we get so caught up in, I just want to do this because this makes me happy.
Yeah. But the minute, and to your point, because I see what you're saying. Is it really what I'm passionate about if I'm already thinking about what am I going to do with the money? Maybe that distracts from the passion. I get you. But if you have something similar to what we have set up, and there's an opportunity for you to bless the creators through this like live chat. What is it called? SUPERCHAT?
SUPERCHAT.
Through SUPERCHAT. By the way, shameless plug. Make sure you guys are getting value. If you're getting value from this, you know what I'm saying? Hit the SUPERCHAT real quick. But
hit the super. Shout out to everybody who has done the SUPERCHAT so far. I put them up on the screen because we were in deep conversation, so I didn't want to interrupt it. But shout out to everybody who hit us up on the SUPERCHAT. You are loved. Everybody's
Indeed.
loved, but you are loved.
Extra love. Yeah, no, but I'm saying it could be something as little as that it sparks the business conversation. Like, all right, cool. Let's start really thinking about how are we going to handle this money? How are we going to manage this money? What are some of the ways that we can educate ourselves about the opportunity or the growth of it? You know, something as little as that.
Yeah.
But to be in a position where, and I'm just using that specific example, I don't want to, again, be gossipy, but to be in a position where accounting can make a mistake that is multiple six figures and it can still get swept under the rug without much of, you know, that financial or that knowledge in place, that's got to be a red flag. It's like, hold up, that's too much money being made without some sort of solid ground happening there. So yeah, no, I'm with you. Shout out to LSJ, by the way. I see LSJ dropped a comment up top. He said, discovered the channel through the Rory and Maul video. I'm 43 years old, leaving behind my passion of photography and currently going to school to become a physician assistant.
Yeah.
Wow.
I said shout out to you, and shout out to everybody new on the channel, but definitely shout out to all the vets who's been rocking with us since day one. But it leaves me like, it's weird. Like, for me, it's weird because I won't say never. 95% of the time, I don't move for money.
Correct.
Right? Don't, like, from the podcast to all the random stuff that I do, that we do, I don't necessarily move for money, right? Now, the thing is, do I feel like I have to educate myself because, you know, something can happen now based off this conversation and based off what we've seen with Rory and Maul and other situations? I have to at least be aware. And plus how because I was just only focused on doing what what makes me happy and keeps me in a happy place and everything, a lot of opportunities have passed me by that I may wanted to have rethink about when it was there and present. But I can admit, if I'm saying I'm doing this because I love to do it or I want to help, I feel sometimes bad for thinking about money. I do.
Yep.
Because even though I am fully aware by doing the stuff that I'm happy, it brings this positive vibe and it brings a positive output for my work, which will then eventually bring in a healthy bag for me. I'm fully aware of this, but to be moving with happiness and a bag in the mind at the same time for me is sometimes hard.
For sure.
Which is very weird, like I keep saying, because I'm 99 economics. And that never changes. I could take that values test all day and it's still like, do you read to learn because you love people, or do you read because you want to learn how to make money? Well, I don't read because I like it. I'm not here reading fiction, nonfiction. I'm not here to do that. It's always to flip it for some type of information so I could do something with it, you know? But I just want to stay in a place that I can continue to go live. I can continue to just talk to random people and, you know, give out information, this, that, and the third. But I do know in the back end, I have to do some things that require me to think about the bag so I can continue to do what I love to do. Because if anybody looks at how I position my brand, I don't charge nothing for, like, everybody who does what I do is like, we have courses, we have ebooks, we have this, that, and the third. And I'm like, come just join me on live.
Come hang
Maybe
out.
you could join a community for about like $9 a month, but that's all I got, right? And people have been on me like, yo, you should be monetizing this, you should be doing this, and you should be doing that. And I'm like, and I've done some of those things, and I make sure I give the most to the people when I do, but it still feels weird.
Because I mean, look, money is just one source of income. You know, money is only one. There's only one.
First of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
What?
Man.
Oh, shout out to Vaughn. Vaughn got her tax refund.
Tax
You know what I mean? Vaughn got her tax refund. She out here. Shout out to Vaughn. I love her. And she does taxes. So I probably am not too far off by saying that. I'm probably not too far off. But anyway. And shout out to Terry. Welcome back, Terry. Welcome back, Terry. You've been missing for a bit.
It's an honorable thing you're doing. Yeah, it's an honorable thing you're doing, Terry. I saw Ashley got you in the comments. Thanks for dropping that comment in there, Ash. That's what's up.
But one last question.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So here's another balanced question, right? Because I believe that both of us do a lot of stuff that keeps us happy and keeps us with the freedom that we have to do whatever we need to do. But there's some task and some things that neither one of us care for. Okay? I'm going to not be transparent on this one. But there's just some things, right? What is the balance? Because I believe for me that I have to do some of those things to create that opportunity to be able to have this particular freedom. So I got to like bite my tongue on certain things and play nice and cordial for others, even though in real life they get these hands. But on what is the balance between that? Because I think both of us has hit a point where we were doing too much of the things that kept that open, but it almost seemed to overwhelm it, that there wasn't a balance. And you don't want to get too much into the passion vibes or the freedom vibes, because then you could lose the same reason why you have that freedom.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've only talked about one value today, but there are multiple values, right? There is a total of 7 values, really. But I think the balance for me has always been if a compromise sacrifices a value, or if you have to sacrifice a value to compromise, then you're probably over compromising. So yeah, it's always, we all have to do what we need to do to keep the lights on or maintain a lifestyle or keep certain freedoms and access and all this thing. Absolutely. Everyone does it. I do it. Like you said, Nicky, you do it. And there's no trying to hide that or pretend something that's not true. But if it gets to a point where you feel like one of your values is being sacrificed in the process of doing this compromise, then you're probably too far. And just like we've talked about with the flight assessment and some of these adapter styles, you can do it for a little bit. But if that's what you have to do to keep the relationship, the partnership, like sustained or maintained, then I don't know that that's a healthy position. You got to start planning your exit somehow. So that's kind of how I've always looked at it. I just feel like you can't steer yourself wrong if you're making decisions and moving in a way that's always justifying what you believe in. So if, like I use a silly example of I don't drink, I'm Muslim. So when I go to the restaurant and I don't care if everyone in there is drinking and you pass me the drink menu, I say, no, thank you. And I pass it right back to you with no pressure, not feeling bad. Even if you ask me, I'm not offended. Why? Because my belief system tells me, hey, we don't drink for XYZ reason. That's it. So I've always felt like when you move in a way that's true to your belief system, you're literally never led astray. And even if you start to feel like, like peer pressure, like, man, like, should I be drinking? Like everybody else is doing it, because it happens. You can always justify your position based on your belief system. And you could kind of like, nah, come on, you don't do that because X, Y, Z. Oh yeah, that's right. I probably was just tripping over this. So like, if people can have that guiding light to really help them stay on path, a lot of the little mess ups that take us down the wrong part of the road that we're like, how did I even get here, can be avoided. And then we're able to do the things that, that you preach on a lot, like consistency, right? Because it's like, if you're going to be consistent in your content game, there's other parts of your life that need to be consistent so you can make the time to create content and be consistent online, so on and so forth. So that's kind of how I've looked at it from that piece. What is it for you? Tell me on that part too.
I'm trying to figure it out.
That's why you're loved, man. That's why you're loved. I think that's one of the things that's really cool about you though, Nick, is that you're always, you always tell people like, yo, I'm still learning this. This part I don't have figured out so much. This part I'm a beast at. So let me teach you on that, because that part I do know.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
I'm an extremist, so I'm still trying to find that balance, because I'll be like, all right, I understand. Like, I'm fully aware there are going to be things that, and this is anything, to make a certain amount of money, to have a certain opportunity, things like that. There's going to be things that you are not going to like to do. Relationships, anything. It's just making other people happy.
Parts of the relationship.
Yes, it's just
Q&As and stuff. Crazy. Yeah.
Part 2 to this, 3, 4, and 5 is going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Anyways, but I'm like, I'm fully aware of those things, and sometimes I make sure, like what I call it, like I make sure home is good, right? But sometimes I make sure home is good too much, that I'm not figuring out what's my own home, right? So I get lost in moving this way, making sure these people are good and everything like that. And then I lose myself. And then I'm looking at it like, I'm doing this to make sure this is open, and it's not. Because, and it's just a balanced situation for me. And sometimes I go to the extremists of, you get all of me here or you get all of me there, and catch me in a certain season. So I'm still trying to figure that out. I think I've done better. I definitely think I've done better. But Moose has definitely seen when I am fed up. Just tag me in when you really need me, because to do something and it get interrupted 17 million times and come up with fire ideas and executing in certain things, and then it'd be like, nah, we doing this in an island upside down of Haiti. What? What's that? What do you? This is not even possible. Well, we're gonna make it possible because Nicky and Moose always makes everything possible. What? And now I have to figure out how to work out on a upside down island. It's weird. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But anyways, it's 9:00 on the dot, or a whole hour, depending on when you watch this, right? We're out. Go get the flight assessment. If you haven't gotten the flight assessment, go get the flight. Actually, Moose, in, a minute 2 or 3, because we haven't done this for a minute, right? Can you explain to the people, what is the flight assessment?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a tool that we've used to help people find their sweet spot, or what we call the genius zone. So what we've learned is that there are 4 different types of unique talents or superpowers that exist in the world, and none of us have all 4. We really have only one true style that we really can dominate in. But because we live in a world with all 4, we take a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, a little bit of this one, and we never end up really knowing which is ours. But when you utilize a tool like the flight assessment, now you're able to put yourself in a position to know which is your true style, how to really leverage it in certain situations, and also you can figure out what situations to avoid or stay away from, because they're not in line with who you are. It doesn't make you feel any less than, how you are and who you are, but you know how to make better decisions as a result of it. So that's just in conjunction, a small little summary of what it is. So yeah, definitely take it, get with one of our coaches, man. Let us help you out with that whole shebang.
Flightassessment.com, people. But go listen to the podcast, episode 33. We went over Ellen, which it was so funny because, to be honest, let's have an honest conversation for 3 minutes. Just 3, right? To be honest, we only wanted to talk about the Joe Budden and J. Cole situation, right? However, Ellen's situation did happen, so we talked about it for a little bit. I felt like it was hey, okay, we'll mention you. It's Ellen. She's ending. Some people said bad stuff about her. What do you think? All right, anyways, Joe Budden, let's talk about this, right? But it was still great conversation. Go check it out. We really definitely went in on the Joe Budden and the J. Cole situation. And check out all our social media channels, all that great stuff. Share this live. Do all what you do. We appreciate you. Moose already said his final words in the podcast, so go check that out. But next Tuesday, same time, same place. Shout out to everybody who gave us a super chat. Shout out to everybody who came through. Terry, Isaiah, Overland, Vaughn, another Isaiah. Who else? Santana, Rose Gold. Nope, not gonna mess up that word. Ashley, and everybody else. I need to do better with names. I promise you, I need to do better with names. We're out. Love you guys. You already know what we're gonna say.